This video is brought to you by my first professional haircut since March of 2020. Gather around, friends, come in close, because today we're going to be talking about them gender feels, and it's going to be a fucking mess. Before I get into that, I've been thinking a lot about how I want to use my platform to boost others and boost important discussions. I'm still reflecting on the best way to do that, but for today I think the best thing I can do is address my white and fellow non-black POC folks and say, instead of making a 15-minute video about how conflicted you feel and how hard you're going to try to be an ally in this community that has a long-standing history with cycles of racial abuse, why don't you instead listen to black folks talk about their own experiences? Black creators have always been here, they've always been doing the work, they've always been having these conversations, and now we have failed and continue to fail them so hard that they're now making these videos about their experiences being black on booktube, and it sucks. It's so unfair. I wish they didn't have to do that. These are videos they should not have to make, videos that are very obviously painful to make. So instead of adding your voice into the mix and talking about how you want to read more black authors for once in your life, your time would be better spent listening to what they have to say for themselves. Before I start recommending specific videos, the last thing I will say about it for now is that authenticity in your actions and your intentions always speaks louder than anything else. You can click on any video on my channel and know exactly what I'm about, and I'm going to continue to be about it. I'm going to go harder. I'm going to go to the max. And to all these non-black folks making videos about allyship, we can just as easily go on your channel and see what you're about and what you've been about. And that's all I'm going to say about that. So Maija Reads made an amazing video about the uselessness of white guilt and how the booktube community doesn't love her back, and that is definitely worth the watch. Maija Reads also made a great video about her experience being black on booktube, and she's also created a playlist of black booktubers as a resource. Mari from My Name is Marinez made a video about what these conversations have to do with the booktube community and their long-term impact. B from Be But Bookish made a video about booktube and its compliance in anti-black racism. Noria from Noria Reads made an excellent video not about her experience, but rather recommending 20 books, mostly nonfiction books, on understanding race. Christina from Christina Marie literally broke years-long hiatus to come back to booktube and talk about how tired she is and how she's done educating white folks. Mika from Mika August, one of the people directly involved, I believe, with exposing kOutlet for their racist practices, made a video about her experience. Naya from Naya Reads and Smiles made a video about her experience with colorism and also terminating her contract with kOutlet. Jessie from Bow Ties and Books made a video about their experiences protesting in Minneapolis and being confronted with fake allies on the internet. Shane from Luxurious Blue made a video that's exactly what it says in the title, which is, I'm not supporting booktubers who don't care about black lives. Tiana from Tiana T made a great video about allyship in the booktube community and what it can and should look like. And Ashley from Bookish Realm made a phenomenal video about booktube's long history of insidious racism, and that video really resonated with me because Ashley started her channel just a year after I did, and I recall every single incident she cited in that video and how the people with the biggest platforms chose and continue to choose to stay silent. There was also a really phenomenal booktube town hall about race in the booktube community that was hosted on Ashley's channel as well, and you should definitely check that out. So basically, if you're watching this video because you want to be all up in my gender business, your homework is to be all up in their business. Watch their videos, watch them more than once, subscribe to them if you actually care and are going to engage with their content, and if you do not agree with and believe everything these folks have to say, there's a big, beautiful unsubscribe button down there somewhere, so do me a solid and hit it, because I don't need your support. I will also include links to things you can do down below and in a pinned comment as well, so definitely look out for that. There's a great resource called Justice in June where you can specify how much time you have to spare every day, and based on that you get assigned various exercises, something to read, something to watch, something to listen to, so that you can educate yourself. So everyone out there crying about feeling lost and helpless, leave black people alone, because that's a great place to start. Another great resource that was recently brought to my attention by Shannon from That's So Po is called Scaffolded Anti-Racist Resources, which is broken down so that you can find where you are on your journey to becoming an anti-racist, and then it provides readings and resources to help you keep going on to the next stage. With all that said, let's get into the gender messiness. This is the first time I'm saying this on camera, so it's kind of a historic moment. I have butterflies in my stomach and I don't know why, but here it goes. Bibliophiles of the internet, my name is Audrey, and today is like a little reintroduction. It's about making the choice to rename myself to live honestly and how hard all of that has been, especially as a queer Latinx person on the internet. As a non-binary person, I've grown to have a very weird relationship with my name. For the longest time, I wanted to be okay with it, almost just to be defiant and really make a point to the cis-hets that you can have a traditionally gendered name name and still lead a non-binary existence. This is true, by the way. Names, gender, and pronouns are three distinct things that are too often conflated when they have no real relationship, and queer folks are allowed to have any combination of those things they want. I'm not here to educate the cis. I just wanted to throw that out there for all my other trans and NB folks who have traditionally gendered names either out of necessity or choice. You are valid as fuck. So for the longest time, I didn't think a name change was necessary for me. I thought I could live with it. I thought I was fine. But especially lately, whenever I would say or hear my given name, it just felt like someone else was being addressed. And it bothered me that if you never saw my face, if you never heard my voice, if you never knew anything about me and you just saw my given name, you would assume that person was female. And that is bad intel. That is false. But then I denied myself even considering a name change because it is a stereotype that being non-binary necessitates being gender neutral when it doesn't. So when I thought about whether I wanted a name that better straddled the line between masculine and feminine, I was afraid I would be playing into the stereotype, and that was a very real fear I had to confront. It is so hard for trans and NB folks to shut out the noise created by cis people about what makes trans and NB folks good enough and real enough, and it took so much reflection to realize, fuck everyone else. This is what I want. So that's when I gave myself permission to start thinking about it, but at that point, I still did not think it was a feasible thing to actually do in the first place. Part of why I didn't think it was possible for me was because of my presence here on booktube and on the internet. In my mind, I was like, everyone already knows me by one thing. I have said my given name within the first 5 seconds of every fucking video I've ever fucking made, and that's a really hard thing to walk back. But what gave me the push I needed was actually a book. Because of course it was. I was reading All Boys Aren't Blue by George M. Johnson, which is a fucking amazing book. Regardless of timing, regardless of context, it was, it is, and it will continue to be a fucking amazing book. Anyways, they had this whole chapter about names, and I'm just gonna read from it verbatim because they said it best. Your name is one of the most important pieces of your identity. It is the thing that you own. It is attached to every piece of work that you put into the world. Your name holds power when you walk into a room. No two people with the same name are the same person. It's important that, like everything you grow to love in life, your name is something you appreciate as well. Should you not like your name, change it. It is yours and it will stay with you forever. So do with it what you wish. As we continue to grow through sex and gender, many people will take back their power and change their names, choosing one that fits the person they are, not the one society pushed them to be. Keep your name if you like it, but know that you don't have to. And it seems so silly, but I was listening to that and I just thought, oh damn, they're right. And I want to sit in that for a second because that first part is fucking terrifying to think about. Because while I'm still the same person and still living the same life, I am now walking through the world differently. And everything I've ever done has been credited to my given name, which is a really hard thing to realize. Every piece of homework, every essay, every draft of everything I've ever written, it's on every package I've received, every card or letter anyone's ever sent me. It's on my bank cards, my license, it's on my degrees. It's on every account I've ever made on the internet. It's said in every single video. It's said by every person and outlet that's ever mentioned me or featured me, and now it is void. And that sucks. To clarify, those things and those experiences are not void, but the version of myself that's being credited is someone who no longer exists. And that is so scary because I cannot change that. I can't walk that back. I'm not gonna delete 7 years worth of videos just because the intro is no longer relevant. But then you have to think about how there's still people who are gonna find my stuff for the first time, dive into my backlist, not take 2 seconds to read my bio because so few people ever do, and they're going to address me incorrectly, and I cannot control that. And that sucks. And if I could have a perfectly candid aside here for a second, I get misgendered and incorrectly addressed by people on this platform every fucking day of my life. And it hurts. It hurts so much. It hurts that people will not do 2 seconds of research to look at the information I have provided you with in all of my bios. That sucks. Am I gonna keep saying that sucks? Yes, because it sucks. Every single time someone mentions me in something or tags me in something, I freeze. because I know there's a 50-50 shot that they're not going to get it right, and most of the time, they don't. And if I can be perfectly honest, that's a big part of why I haven't done anything with my name up until now, because I cannot trust most of you to respect or acknowledge my pronouns or my sense of self. So why am I going to trust you with something else? Let's just leave it at that for now, because it's fucked up. It's fucked up. But to go back to what I was saying before, I need you to realize how terrifying and jarring it is to realize that everything you've ever done and accomplished is as someone else. Like I said, I myself am not changing, but now those experiences and acknowledgements are colored in a different way that I can't do anything about. I had a moment the other day where I realized I've only been told I'm loved as someone else. No one has loved me as Audrey. And please resist the urge to go down to the comments and tell me you love me, because I love y'all, but we all know that's not the kind of relationship I'm talking about. And I tell you that not because I want your pity. I don't. But because this is the kind of shit that comes up when you make this kind of choice. I feel like a newborn giraffe that's just dropped 10 feet to the earth, and now I'm just trying to get up on my awkward, stilty little legs and learn how to walk, because the former has done so much and Audrey hasn't done shit. And I know it doesn't make sense. I know it's a weird cognitive dissonance, because I understand that I still get to claim all of those things, but it just feels different. So that is just one part. The other parts are the social, familial, and cultural aspects, and I don't know how deep I'm gonna get into this because it is some shit. This is all so fraught, so I'm just gonna start with why Audrey and not something else. First of all, there is legal stuff to consider, which is just way too much for me right now, because your name is attached to a shit ton of documents and forms and applications, and if you change your name, you have to change all those things. And I don't think you realize how much your name is out there until you do something like this. So I had considered a lot of names, all of them starting with A, because I love my initials, but then when you're researching gender neutral names, you realize that a lot of them are super fucking white. What I loved about my given name is that it's a very common, very Mexican name. It's a very big name in the Mexican community and diaspora, and it's very recognizably rooted in Spanish. I didn't want to lose that. I had no interest in erasing myself and my culture in the process. But then there's another layer, which is consideration for my family and my parents. They gave me that name with all the hope and love in the world. They put thought into how that was the name they wanted their child to walk through the world with. So completely scrapping it just didn't feel right. I wanted to show them that what they had given me wasn't right for me, but it could be. And I guarantee you that's something a lot of white trans folks don't have to think about. So I did consider the masculine form, Adrian, but that also didn't feel right. I don't want the feminine form. I don't want the masculine form. I want a form that is right for me. So I shortened it, and that's how I got Audrey. The pronunciation is also very important to me and very intentional on my part, so please don't fuck it up. It is not arbitrary, it is a choice. I claim Audrey over Adri because it honors the Spanish pronunciation of Adriana. And again, I considered inserting a U to make it Audri to sort of emulate the pronunciation I want, but again, that just felt like a very white instinct, and I had to fight against it. So yeah, Audrey's here to stay. If you want to insert that little Spanish flip and say Adri with that beautiful rolled R, that would be fucking peak, but I will happily just take Audrey. It is neither the feminine form nor the masculine form, it is just a form. And it's mine. Plus it's also functional because I can still use my dead name for legal stuff, but now there is distance and space. Now that is mine and mine alone, which is also why I wanted to make this video, to officially revoke your permission and access to Adriana. That is mine. It was a limited time engagement, and now it's going back in the Disney vaults. And I just want you to know and hear how much it sucks that you all have knowledge of something you have absolutely no right to know, and that you can weaponize against me if you really wanted. And there's nothing I can do about that. So I am revoking all of that from you as much as I possibly can, so please don't be jerks. But yeah, so it works for me on that social level as well, because I don't have to worry about legal stuff, but now I have the agency to introduce and present myself differently, and because it'll be perceived as like a nickname, I won't get any pushback about it. And again, I want to clarify that I made that choice not because I give a single fuck about the comfort of cis people, but as a consideration as to how I can protect myself as I walk through this world as someone who is non-binary and trans. So the former is dead. Audrey lives. If I ever in the future want to change again to something completely divorced from my given name, I know that's also valid and that will be my choice to make. But for now, I'm good. For the first time in a long time, I'm good. I don't know how to end a video like this, but I do want to say thank you to everyone who's been so kind and generous, everyone who's just hit the ground running and hasn't skipped a beat. When I sort of soft drop this on social media, to see my community, industry professionals, organizations, and even authors I love showing their support and reaching out to me, it meant so much. It made a very, very hard choice feel that much easier. And I just wanted to say thank you to everyone for that, and especially to everyone who said my name back to me. That was something I didn't know I needed, but it really made all the difference. That's all I have for you today. The next one will be about books, I promise. In the meantime, take care of yourself, educate yourself, be kind to yourself, and I will catch you on the flip side of the page. Bye.